Hello, I'm Randy Kleiner, the co-founder and CEO of SeriesFest, and welcome to the Q&A for The Blessing in our digital short series competition. We have some exciting guests today from the cast and creative team, and I'm going to hand it over to them to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Leanne Kay, and I wrote and directed The Blessing.
Hi, I'm Joyce Kilcomb, and I helped produce it.
I'm Connie Hong, and I'm the cinematographer on The Blessing.
I'm Charlene Kay, and I scored The Blessing and did the graphics.
Hello, I'm Ryan, and I play Leo in The Blessing.
Amazing. Well, welcome, you guys. Thank you for joining today for this Q&A. You know, I think it's always good to sort of start from the beginning. So, Leanne, I'd love to hear from you kind of how you came up with the concept for The Blessing.
Yeah, so The Blessing is based on pretty much the true relationship between my fiance, who is Italian American and, you know, a big white guy, and my mom, who is a tiny Asian immigrant woman. And it started out as a short film that was just between the two of them, which you can see in the pilot. And then I won a grant through the Women's Fund to expand the story and was able to create 5 more episodes where he goes around and meets the rest of the family. And I should also say his goal is to propose. So he gets the blessing from the mom, sort of, and then goes around to meet the aunties, the dad, the grandma, the stepdad, and the sister.
Amazing. I love it. I love it so much. You know, you play around with a lot of Asian stereotypes. And what do you hope that the audience comes away with from that?
I think that just listening to what they have to say is something that our protagonist does so well. He knows that he's the newcomer in the situation, and he knows that the rules are something that he needs to learn, and by really respecting us, our culture, and, you know, but also bringing himself to it. That's what marriage, I think, is about. You know, bringing two families from different perspectives and cultures together, and even more so when it's an interracial, intercultural situation.
Absolutely. And I definitely think that resonates really beautifully through each scene. You learn something a little bit different, and how he kind of reacts just says so much. And it flows so nicely in that way. Joyce, will you tell us a little bit about the production process and kind of how many days did you shoot? What was the crew like?
So I think we shot like episode 2 and episode 4 first of the whole series. And it was in the midst of the pandemic. So it was interesting. We had to integrate like new roles like COVID compliance officers, but also like we wanted to shoot all of the rest of the episodes all in one go. And it was feeling kind of scary just because in the Popo episode, we have like a whole cast of retirement residents. So we were kind of really nervous for that. I remember every day we had like a new cast member drop out, and we quickly had to like email our casting director and be like, we need a replacement. And then soon we were just like, okay, we need like 3 replacements just in case more people drop out. So it was feeling like very different, but I feel really, really, really happy to have been able to work through the pandemic and with such great people. And I feel like just because we all had this passion to create, everything ended up being more seamless than you would think.
Absolutely. And Connie, how did you approach, you know, stylistically from a shooting perspective?
I think series can kind of tend to be the same old all the time. So I really wanted to make each episode a little different, and was trying to come up with a style that would kind of suit the characters' personality and the story that's being told. And I just try to mix it up a bit and try not to do the same thing every time.
Absolutely. And I just have to give a shout out to Connie, who has joined us from being on set and stuck outside to do this Q&A. So I think that's very, very nice of her. So we're thrilled you're able to come meet us.
Yeah, of course.
And Charlene, talk to me about the musical choices and kind of what your approach to that was.
Oh man, I had so much fun with the score because it has this blend of lightheartedness and heart, and there's so much, it's clear when you follow the characters throughout the series how their perspectives change, and there are elements of it being a romantic comedy with also it being this like very like it's not quite a romance, but I like the way that the Leo character has to romance all of the different groups of people. And so the dynamic between him and Popo is very different from him and the sister, which is sort of the climactic moment of the series. And so I had a lot of fun building those relationships through music and like helping the audience feel what he might be feeling, whether that be like intimidated or really bonding with the dad or being angry at one of the characters and trying to navigate his way around this new frontier that this new family he's about to be a part of.
Totally. And Ryan, we've now just watched Your Face. How did you come to be a part of the project?
It was a wonderful script that was an audition, and I read it and immediately was like, I know in my head I could just see it and picture it and vision it. It was written so well. I felt like it was so easy to do, and I just, the audition scene was actually the very quick back and forth between the mom and Leo on the bench about the children and the visits to Singapore and the education, and it just flowed so nicely. It was so much fun. I just had so much fun doing it, and it's one of those where I was like, gosh, I hope I get to do this, and I did. And I'm very grateful to have been able to be a part of something that's grown from one episode to all these episodes. So
amazing. Well, besides Ryan, who's very amazing in the series, I thought your cast you have such a great ensemble cast. Every single person was just kind of tremendous. How did you go about the casting process? And how did you find your actors?
It wasn't easy, actually. The roles, people around their 30s and 20s, but the older Asian actors we really had to dig for and ask through friends of friends if a 65-year-old auntie that could play somebody. And but once we found them, there does end up being a little mafia in New York City of the older Asian ladies that show up on set to every production, and they'd be like, I was on Madam Butterfly, and I was on what is that Gilmore Girls show, Miss Maisel.
Yeah.
They're always like extras. If there's ever a shoot in Chinatown, they're there at 7 a.m. Getting their makeup done. So we have the network now, which has been a great experience to find.
Well, I'm glad you brought them front and center and added being extras, because there's certainly there's a lot of talent and a lot of fun there. And I also have to give you kudos, because I believe almost all of your cast and crew were of Asian descent. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And
it naturally worked out that way just because they're all the family members except for George and Leo, who also did an amazing job as being part of Asian culture. And I feel like that's just what we want to see, like cultures living harmoniously side by side and like learning from each other. So it was great. It was great on all ends of the spectrum with all of our actors.
I also really like the Popo episode because we have Popo and Trixie, who are like two different generations of characters, and that they're both Asian, but they didn't have to be related, and they're in the same scene. And I thought that was really nuanced because I never see that.
Absolutely. And I feel like it really adds to the authenticity of the series. Like you can definitely feel it. So how many episodes have you shot at this point? And are there more in the works?
We have 6 episodes total, and depending on interest from whoever is at SeriesFest, we have tons of more content. Like we just got up to the proposal, and there's a lot more we could do, be that expanding into a season 2 or a feature film. So yeah, something like My Big Fat Chinese Wedding is definitely a possibility. So
I'm gonna throw this question out to anyone. Were there any kind of really funny moments or challenging moments that happened, or unexpected moments that happened on set?
Ryan, I think you should talk about eating durian for the first time.
It felt like there were a couple times when I had to do a lot of running. That was,
You must have been in really good shape, like up those stairs, down those stairs.
And there's future where I did some more running, and in filming you do things over and over, and it was really fun. But I got to eat durian for the first time, which is this fruit that smells very terrible but tastes kind of like garlic and bananas, and it has this weird, like, you're grossed out by it, but at the same time you're like, oh, this is kind of good. And we were able to capture Leo's first time, but also my first time. So that was a challenging but also very fun scene to film.
I love that. If we were in person, we'd have to be serving that, you know, when you come out of the theater or something. And so we'll hold on to that when we get y'all in person. That sounds, it does sound interesting, and it sounds good.
We'll be serving it at the premiere for sure.
We love durian.
I also think the funny moment on set was the finale episode. Leanne wrote about her sister, who is Charlene, and Charlene's on set, but there's also an actor that looks like Charlene. So I would pass that to Charlene, but it was trippy.
Yeah, there are two cameos. One, my actual fiance is the sound guy in the final episode, and then two, Char is in the audience watching her doppelganger, but was also like the guitar rock star coach for her, which I should also mention for the score. Her songs end every episode, but we also got to, because she is a musician herself, and we got to incorporate her pop songs into the score, which was really cool. So kind of winding that into a Chinese instrumental track was really fun for me, because those songs mean a lot to both of us.
I love that. I can't believe this, but time is already up. But thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for showcasing The Blessing, and we look forward to seeing more. And thank you to our audience for watching, and we'll see you soon. Thanks
for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.